Hi, my name is Mia, and you're watching Cardinal Television.
Hello and welcome to the season finale of Fisher Football Focus. I'm your host, James Bailey. The Cardinals closed out their season against the Westminster College Titans in the James Lynah Bowl. It was Fisher's second consecutive ECAC bowl game. Last season, the Cardinals defeated Western Connecticut State 28-14. Let's see if they had the same success this time.
This time they started strong again. A 14-play opening drive was capped by a 2-yard Matt Nayton touchdown pass to Taylor Byrne, 7-0 Cards. On the ensuing kickoff, Michael Burton would boot it deep to Demetrius Bentley. Bentley would field it, take off towards the right, run past a few men, and take off for 90 yards. He'd knot the score 7-7. After a Fisher punt, Westminster would move the ball on offense. Their drive would be capped by a 16-yard touchdown run by Jordan Edwards, 14-7 Titans. Early in the second, Paul Colombo takes off and scrambles for a 24-yard score to extend Westminster's lead to 21-7. That lead would hold off until halftime. Midway through the third now, Westminster would continue to pour it on. Colombo goes deep to Terran Stefantes Levine. He would bring the Titans' lead to 28-7. Fisher would respond though. Another long drive would be capped off by a Nayton touchdown run to bring the score to 28-14. Fisher couldn't build momentum though. On the first play of the fourth quarter, Colombo would get a big play again, completing a pass to Cody Allward, who would go the rest of the way, 56 yards to bring the score to 35-14. Fisher needed a score on their next drive, and they just couldn't get it. Westminster would sack Nayton and force a fumble. Westminster would recover and all but seal the game. Each team would score one more touchdown, and Westminster walked away with a 42-21 victory. Matt Nayton finished with 154 yards passing and a score. Senior quarterback Danny Caton finished with 51 yards and a touchdown. Senior receiver Taylor Byrne ended with 30 receiving yards and 2 scores. The Cardinals ended the season at 7-4.
Coming up next, head coach Paul Vosberg breaks down the season, so keep with us.
What gets you moving?
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
You fuel your body?
And your mind. Get up and play an hour a day, Doc.
check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov. That's www.letsmove.gov.
Welcome back to Fisher Football Focus, joined again by head coach Paul Vosberg. And Coach, we're glad to have you back again.
Thank you.
So, talking about the Westminster game, you guys went up early, had a 14-play drive, scored that quick early touch, not really quick, but it scored a long drive touchdown, and then you gave up the touchdown, the kick return, and that kind of, it kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. But then, you went on to give up 28 unanswered points. It was 28-7, and your team just never really was able to recover from there. So, you would think kind of that kick returns where things kind of went wrong for you guys in that game, or?
Yeah, that didn't help, and anytime. And we had not given up a kickoff return all year long. And in fact, I don't think we had one pass midfield on us all year long. But they broke that one, and it gave them some instant energy. And we needed to respond, and we really didn't respond. We came back out and didn't move the ball very well the next series. And then we did punt them into the hole, we thought, but then they responded with a touchdown too. As you said, they scored 28 unanswered points in that. So that was kind of disappointing, no doubt.
And we mentioned the ground game. The big battle is going to be between your rush defense and their rush offense. And clearly by the stats, 228 yards. It was the first time your team had given up. Probably in the last 6 games, I didn't do the math on it. Probably close to 228 yards in the past 6 games combined. Your rush defense was so strong. So. Was there anything that your defense was doing differently than the past 6 weeks, or was that just a really strong offense?
Well, they're a good offense, and give them credit. They blocked well. We didn't get off the blocks as well, and we didn't tackle as well. So, and that whole game boiled down to us not blocking and tackling as well as we could have. So it was disappointing in that factor that, they're a good team, and I take nothing away from them. We just didn't block and tackle very well the whole ball game on either our offense, defense, or special teams.
So not the way you want to go out, but it was a decently successful year overall. 7-4 record, did make it to a bowl game. So as a whole, what are your final thoughts on the way that the whole 2015 season turned out for you guys?
Well, I'm very proud of our kids and our coaches for what they did because, and I think I've said it before on this show that our guys could have kicked the 10 in when they were 1-3, and a lot of people have commented to us and to myself, several coaches, about, geez, you went from 1-3 and all of a sudden you're 7-3 and you're co-champions in one of the best conferences in the country. You got to be proud of that. And yeah, I am. I'm proud of our coaches, and I'm proud of our players and what they did accomplish. Yeah, would we have liked to accomplish a little bit more on Saturday in that bowl game? We sure would have, and so on. But let's not take away for their whole productivity for the year. They did a great job. They came back, and they became a better and better football team.
Yeah, so the season just ended on Saturday, and so you were talking before the show. You said sometimes a lot of times the off season's more strenuous than the real season. So what's next from here? Just from November. Now you're at the end of November. What's kind of the schedule now for? I know you got spring ball coming up in a couple months. What's the schedule between here and then?
Well, spring ball will be the fun time. It's the recruiting. The recruiting is huge. I mean, we're already on the phones. We're already getting our plans ready to go out recruiting. Coach Kramer went out today. I'm going on the road tomorrow, and the rest of our coaches are getting their trips all planned, where they're going to go, what high school. We had to wait till the season ended to get everything planned out, but the recruiting process is a huge process because we've got to get kids in. It's important for the college. It's important for our football team. To get our number of players that we'd like to get and improve our football team. And recruiting's the biggest part of the game. It's the biggest part of our job, and people don't always understand that. We recruit 365 days a year. I mean, during the summer months when everybody's taken off, we're at combines and showcases and stuff like that, looking at players and for next year, and you never stop recruiting. The good thing is we will have spring practice, and that'll be fun because then we'll be out on the field with our kids and working with the players and coaching them up on football and not worrying about the recruiting. The other thing that occurs too in January is that we get into our off-season conditioning program, which leads us into spring practice, and that's a critical time of the year too, because you really win your games in the spring, in the fall, because if you have a great off-season in the weight room and running wise and getting our players in great shape, and then with a good spring practice, that gets them ready to go into the fall, and that leads into success in the fall. So we need to come in January when we come back from winter recess, and we need to have a great spring in the weight room, running wise, and our spring practice wise, and a great recruiting season.
So a lot of things you need to go right.
A lot of things.
So you mentioned, obviously recruiting after the season. It's difficult to recruit in the season. Do you guys get any recruiting done while you guys are in the season, or? Yeah,
like I said, we recruit all year long because we had recruits on campus at every home game. There was recruits at campus. I think at our last game against Alfred, we had somewhere around 20, 22 recruits on campus that we were visiting with, showing them the campus and talking to them, and we're in constant contact with them by way of emails and text messages, what have you, all the time with all our recruits. So our recruiting goes all year long. Even at the bowl game, we had some recruits come watch us in the bowl game over in Connecticut because it was closer to their homes there than it is to come to Rochester. They only had an hour and a half drive to the bowl game, and it's going to take them about 5.5 hours to drive to Rochester, which they said they're going to come see us and visit us still. And so recruiting, like I said, it goes 365 days a year.
Who's your biggest rival, you'd say, in recruiting?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. They're all pretty tough. Alfred's right there. The state schools are a different recruiting beast because they're different. They're different than we are. But then you look at recruiting against Ithaca and Utica and everybody, all the private schools. Those are probably our ones that we go head to head with the most, more so than the state schools. But the state schools are in there too. So everybody in the Empire 8, pretty good team. You got to recruit in the Empire 8, otherwise you're going to get beat in the Empire 8.
Yeah, and even for football, I remember replying for Ithaca, Buffalo State, other E8 schools. So yeah. So you guys do have spring practice coming up, and you mentioned that's the fun time. What's your main focus when you are in the spring? What do you guys try to work on? Do you guys try to change anything a lot, or is it just kind of keep you guys kind of in the rhythm, like, hey, kind of keep them from really getting too far out of it in between the season?
Yeah, we'll make some adjustments on things that we want to look at or things we want to change, offensively, defensively, special teams wise. A lot of it for this spring will depend upon whether they pass we're trying to get it passed that we would have helmets and shoulder pads on so we could go out there. Not for all the practices, but a certain number of them would be full gear, which would help us teach even more because you're kind of limited when you're out there with no helmets on, no shoulder pads, and what you can really teach. And it gives us an opportunity during the spring, no matter which way it is, to evaluate some of our new guys or young guys that are coming along, and are they going to be able to step up for the graduating seniors and so on. So it gives us an opportunity to change some things, take opportunities to look at some players, even change players in position. There will be guys in the spring that are going to be playing new positions that they didn't play in the fall or that they originally came here to play. We'll make some adjustments there too. So spring ball is really, really important to us in getting our kids ready for the fall.
And you said position changes. You had Chris Smith move from running back onto the defensive side of the ball and be a starting linebacker. It was wildly successful for you guys this year. So, and so going off of that, what's kind of the early outlook on next season? Is there anything you really see that, obviously the season just ended, but from what you see out of the guys we have coming back and what you see out of the younger guys that may have to step into roles, what do you see? Do you see you guys really changing all that much on offense or on defense? What do you see for 2016 from 8 months out?
Well, I don't think we're ever going to change a lot. When you're having a lot of success, you don't change too much, but you do change some of the things. We kind of go by the old 80-20, keep 80% of what you did and change about 20%, and you'll be okay. You'll continue to be successful in that. But we'll make some adjustments according to our personnel. That'll have a lot to say with what we do. The year we went from being a four-man front to being a 3-3 stack defense, we made that change because of personnel. And so any changes that we have, now we didn't change everything, but we changed some of the stuff. And we kept a lot of the same verbiage and all that kind of stuff. And we kept some of the same coverages and all this and that. So we didn't change everything, but we changed some things up. And that'll happen again this year too on offense, defense, special teams. We'll kind of look at what our talent is there, what we have coming back. We are excited about the talent we have coming back. We think there's a good nucleus of young men coming back, kids that got better and better during the season. We're losing some good seniors as always, but if you're having success as a program, every year you're going to graduate good players. And now, hopefully, because you are a good program, you got some good players coming up. Now you got to fit them in and see how that works for you.
All right, well, Coach, thank you so much for coming back on again. Thank you so much for the entire season. Obviously, this show wouldn't go on if it wasn't for the support of you and your football team, and we're happy to put it on for you guys. So
we're happy to be a part of this show.
All right, well, best of luck this off season, and hopefully you can bring back a successful recruiting class and have a strong 2016.
Thank you very much.
After the break, JV coach Nick Brace will be on to discuss the JV season and more. It's an interview you won't want to miss.
So, do you have any questions?
What is your soup of the day?
We have a mulligatawny soup.
Oh, do you have any specials?
We have a steak special today.
Oh, how's that cooked?
That's pan-seared and then...
Does it come with a side dish? Is it grilled? Can I have it steamed? So, what do you recommend? What kind of pie do you have? You're an actor. Aren't you from Ohio?
Any questions?
Ask questions. For the 10 questions everyone should know, go to ahrq.gov.
Welcome back to Fisher Football Focus, joined again by Coach Nick Brace. Coach, we have you here to talk about the JV team, but first, your thoughts on the Westminster game.
Westminster game was a tough game for us. We came out and our offense did some real nice things on the first drive there, and unfortunately we had a small lapse in special teams, and I think it kind of hit us hard and put us in a position where we were fighting an uphill battle the rest of the way. So I think the guys fought well, though. It was nice to see them respond this season and get to a position where we could be in that game against Westminster. So I think overall it wasn't quite the end we were looking for, but it was good to be where we were at.
And so the online doesn't have the JV record 100% updated. So what was the record of your JV team this year, and how much success do you think they had?
We ended up going 4-2. We had 2 losses by a combined 6 points. One game at Utica, we were actually in it until the last about 10 seconds. We had an opportunity to score on the last play of the game, and we weren't able to convert. But I think we played really well. We had a shutout against Alfred. That's how we finished the season, and against I think it was Alfred. But I think the guys played really well. We have a real good, solid group of young talent who I think you guys will be seeing on the varsity stage pretty soon moving forward here.
Yeah, I mean, and forward to extrapolated, that comes out to, extrapolated across a 10-game season, that's going to come out to be about 7-3, which is where the varsity team was at. So you think that that's a good omen for moving forward in the future, that this team has been successful for the past several seasons, that you're not going to maintain that 7-8 win, 7-8-9 win a season success that we've been seeing?
Absolutely, and I think the games that we did lose, as I said, they were pretty tight games, 3 points apiece, and I think it was just we made some young mistakes, things that you expect young guys to do mistake-wise. We took some dumb penalties sometimes that put us in tough situations, and I think moving forward, though, we're not going to see those kind of issues. We got a good group of guys who are hungry. They're hungry to learn, hungry to get better, and I don't think we'll see those mistakes once they reach the varsity level. So I would anticipate these guys to do some great things for this program.
Yeah, and the team was successful. Do you have any specific players we should be looking out for? For an example, David Carroll last year played JV, and then he moved up and was able to start right away on the varsity team at a very solid year, second on the team in tackles, stuff like that. So is there any, do you think, can you spotlight any specific players that you think might be able to step right up and make an immediate impact on the varsity team next year?
Oh, absolutely. I think defensively speaking, we had 2 guys who were able to come in, 3 guys who were able to come in, who played on JV and actually played in some varsity games for us this year. DeMar Nelson, Mallard, and Ewell. 3 guys were able to come out and they did some really nice things on JV, and then they were able to come show what they had with the varsity guys and got some play time there. I know offensively, we had one of our linemen start on JV with us, Ross Mathewson. He ended up starting, I think, 6 games for us this year at center, and I think next year you'll see some real great things. I think Ronaldo, he's a running back. He's a little young, but I think he's got some real great things he brings to the table. Will Kuhn, offensively, is a wide receiver, very talented. That whole wide receiver core, Carnivale, Mitch Rain, a bunch of those guys, very talented in the wide receiver category there. So I anticipate they're going to step in and do some big things for us.
And they got a lot of shoes to replace with Nagolian leaving. We mentioned before, Nagolian, Byrne, Campese all leaving next year. So definitely a big hole to fill. This was your first season coaching, so you spent a lot of years. You spent some years playing. First season coaching here. So overall, from your experience, how was your experience? Your first experience coaching Fisher football?
It was good. I really enjoyed it. The guys were great. They were pretty receptive. It's always a little concerning when you come in how a guy's going to react to somebody new coming in, so they haven't met with or dealt with before. But they all reacted well, and we figured out how to get on the same page and accomplish what we need to and what we're going to do moving forward. So I look forward to working with these guys this offseason and getting ready to go next season.
Yeah, so you're the JV defensive coordinator. Do you have a lot of freedom to kind of run what you want, or do you kind of go off of what Coach Fox's defense is in the varsity to kind of teach the guys the same sort of stuff that they're going to be using in the next level?
We try to stay on the same page. That way, like we talk about, we want to bring guys up and give them an opportunity in varsity. We want them to have to learn something all new. So there might be a few wrinkles, things here or there, game plan-wise, that we might throw in as the game's progressing, but for the most part, pretty much everything's run the same as Coach Fox in the varsity.
So Coach and I just sat down and just talked a lot about what's going to be expected in the off-season. This will be, as you mentioned, these are your first year coaching years. This will be your first off-season to coach here, but do you kind of know what your role is in the off-season, what you'll be doing for the next 8 months?
I do. I'm going to be recruiting. I go on the road next week. I'll be in New Jersey and Long Island, working downstate with some of those coaches there and trying to bring up some good talent from there. And then when I get back, I'm really looking forward to working with the strength and conditioning program and getting our guys in the weight room, getting our speed a little better, and working on those things to make us better in the off-season so that we can come out and compete for a championship next fall.
Yeah, and what should we really expect out of your team next fall? He head coach kind of talked about what he expected out of his guys next season a little bit, but judging on the team as a whole, what do you expect? You talked about you have some young JV guys that might be able to step up and make a bigger impact. Given that you guys are losing some seniors, stuff like that, what do you expect? What should we expect to see out of your team next season?
I think we're going to see some really great things. One thing I'm most excited for, some of these younger guys who had an opportunity to play this year, stepping up as leaders. I think we're going to have some great leadership. Garino Hyde, he's going to be coming back for us. He's defensive line. He's going to be a great leader for us. David Carroll, I know you mentioned him before. He's going to be a great leader for us. And we've got some guys who know what needs to get done and are willing to do the tough things to make it happen. So I'm pretty excited to see what they bring to the table, and I would anticipate us to have a pretty successful year next year.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Coach. We hope that
Thank you.
you guys can have a successful off season. And we'd like to thank you and your program so much for helping make this show possible.
Well, hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys doing this.
Absolutely. Coming up next, we'll have seniors Brandon Miller and Nathan Nagolian come on one final time to reminisce on their time at Fisher.
We live in a brand new world, a world of remarkable technological progress. We've discovered new galaxies, we've cracked the genetic code, even put an entire library of books in a tiny microchip. It's this rate of change that demands a more relevant education, one that encourages students to discover not only the world around them, but within themselves as well.
Hi, my name is Miles, and you're watching Cardinal Television.
Welcome back to Fisher Football Focus, joined again by seniors Nathan Nagolian and Brandon Miller. I thought I got rid of you guys, but just keep coming back. Huh?
Nope, can't get rid of us.
So, Nathan, we'll talk to you first a little bit. You guys played Westminster. It was both of you guys' last game here this weekend. Obviously didn't quite go the way you'd like it to go. On offense, you guys did keep up on them passing it over 200 yards passing. You didn't catch a touchdown, so weren't able to extend some of your records as far as you would have liked. But for you, how do you feel that you went out in your final game?
Obviously, we don't like to lose. I wouldn't like to lose my last career game ever, but I know I'm so proud of this team and where we come. We were down one. Our record was 1-3 at the beginning of the season. So many people counted us out, and just to win 6 in a row and be so close to getting a playoff bid was unbelievable. But like I said, I would have liked the W, but I'm so proud of this team.
And Brandon, me and Coach talked last week, and we talked earlier this show. The biggest kind of thing for this game was going to be how your run defense is going to be able to stop their rushing attack. They had a strong rushing attack, but on the flip side, you guys have been playing really strong rush defense, and so that was going to be the big battle, and unfortunately Westminster came away. So from your side on the field, what was going on? Why they kind of end up with over 200 yards rushing like that?
Well, I think they went fast-paced to start the game, and that kind of caught us a little off guard. I don't think we expected that. And hats off to them. That was a great coaching adjustment, and it showed very well in the game. They rushed for over 200 yards against us, which hasn't happened since Thomas More, I believe, or maybe even Cortland. But they got to the outside of us. They got to the outside on us, and I just don't think overall. I didn't play a great game. I don't think anyone really played strongly or represented what our defense has been doing the past 6 weeks. But with that being said, it's just a game. Football, it's like life. Sometimes things don't go your way. But I'm proud of the way the team has fought this year, regardless.
And so, Nathan, last time you were on, you talked a little bit about how you plan to come back and help out with spring ball a little bit. What specifically do you think you'll be doing to help out the guys a little bit in the spring and help get them prepared to life after you and Kim Peasy and Byrne and a lot of other seniors?
Well, in the spring, the team gets 16 scheduled practices. So I'd like to show up to those. And Coach Yondek, our wide receiver coach, isn't around during the spring because he coaches high school lacrosse, women's lacrosse. So it'd be nice to get back and kind of help some of the younger guys, work with them a little bit more as a coach instead of a player. But we have a lot of potential in the wide receivers, so I'm kind of excited to see what they have in store for us.
And Brandon, Nathan will be all graduated, but you will be still on campus, still have one more semester left. So will you be coming around and helping out the team a little bit in the spring? Or?
I think I'm going to sleep a little bit in the spring. But if I do stick around next fall, I'd love to help the team out, especially they have a great group of young linebackers coming up, and they have a lot of talent that's coming back too, with Mark Greeno-Hyde and Aaron Jones, Chris Smith. So, they have a lot of talent back there, and I would kind of like to see and help foster them with their ability to play throughout camp and the rest of the season, because I think they do have a lot of potential next year.
You talked last show about how you want to get your master's in education, kind of become a history teacher, stuff like that. Do you have anything planned out for where you're going to be in the fall? Or
I should probably get on that, but not right now. I'm just focusing about just getting my body back to being normal. After the season, it's just a lot of bruises and cuts, and I'll probably get looking into that stuff during Christmas break, and I'll probably apply here, maybe Brockport, which is close by. But the goal is to stay out in Rochester for the next 2 years.
And we've been talking. The theme has been the off season in this show, because obviously we're wrapping everything up right now, and so obviously you guys won't be going through all the off season training this off season, but you've gone through several seasons before So can you guys talk about a little bit what from the players' side is expected out of the players in the offseason to help get you guys better for next fall?
Well, last year kind of had a down offseason in the players' opinions and the coach's opinion. Some stuff that we could have done better we didn't do. So I'm hoping they don't make that same mistake this year, because I think it kind of carried over into our camp. A bunch of the guys were talking about it after the game this weekend about how camp was kind of carried over from the offseason. So I think that's where the tone kind of gets set, is the offseason. So they got to work hard and get better. It's not going to be given to them. The success that we had, not as much at the beginning of the season, but those 6 games, I mean, it was all worked for. And that's what they got to learn this offseason. You got to work for it right now, and the results are going to come next fall.
Yeah, and our coaches always say, our games are won before the battle even starts in the weight room. And in the offseason, they lift 3 days a week and they run 2. I think the attendance last year wasn't very good. A lot of guys decided not to show up, or maybe only come to a few. And not only does that hurt yourself, but it hurts the team in terms of camaraderie and just kind of, just getting better with your teammates. And I think that kind of carried over into spring ball, and then that kind of carried over into summer. And I think that you could see a little bit in how we started so awful this year. I think that just all carried into that.
Yeah, but at the same time, playing, even though D3, people don't think about it being the rigorous schedule that they think about.
It is
the D1 scholarship athletes, but yeah, it's a big time commitment. So how did you guys personally balance your time? And there's just so much has to go on as far as as you mentioned, practicing during the season, but then you have film study, you have all the workouts and stuff like that on the off season. So how did you guys personally kind of balance all that with all the academics and stuff like that too?
Honestly, I think the coaches do a good job of scheduling the practices along with the lifting and the running. So our running only goes until spring break, and then after that, it's a lot of the practices. So it's kind of balanced between the running and the practices. So they help us out a lot, and then we have a bunch of different weight groups. I think there's 4 of them, 4 different weight groups throughout the day. So coaches are pretty flexible. If they want you to stay in one, but they know if you have a Friday class that messes up your lifting time, then you can be flexible and switch into another lifting group. But there's really no off season for football. It's basically the same amount of commitment in season and out of season. So it's tough, but we're all prepared for it.
Yeah, like Nate said, the coaches do a great job of scheduling practices, lifts, runs. But I think in terms of from a player's perspective, you have to be good at time management. And I've always felt that during football season, the structure of the game and practice and the time schedule helped me academically, because I knew I had to get something done at a specific time. Otherwise, I wasn't able to partake in practice or games or stuff like that. So I was always in favor of that structure during the fall.
And finally, scale of 1 to 10, how emotionally struck are you that you're no longer playing football anymore? That you guys have finally suited up for the final time?
Oh, 10, definitely. Everyone you talk to, what's next in life, and it doesn't really hit you until you start thinking wow, from my point of view, I'm going to start working full time. There's no more school, there's no more football, and it all happens within a week. It's such a strange experience.
Yeah, emotionally I'm a 10, but I think my body's like a 1. My body's a little glad that the season's over. It definitely took a beating this year. But I wouldn't give these past 4 years up for anything in the world. And Coach Vosberg always says how football is such a short time period to play. Basketball, baseball, you can play those types of organized sports, as you get older. But football, you really only have, 10 years really to play competitively. And I just had so much fun with all the guys here, and I've made so many good memories and friends. I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on today. We thank you for your 4 years here, and congratulations on great seasons and great careers here at Fisher.
Thank you
very much.
Appreciate it.
That's all the time we have for this final edition of Fisher Football Focus. We'd like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in each week to check out our Fisher football team. We hope you come back next season. For Cardinal Television, I'm James Bailey. Catch you next year.